Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope today is going well. This, as we approach the 4th of July on this Thursday, weather outside is beautiful. I hope you're having a beautiful day as well. Peace and grace to you all. Just a reminder, and I'll remind us at the end of the live stream, that our worship service on Sunday will be at 9 a.m. We are hopeful to be up and streaming again. We think we've got that all settled. So, although if you didn't catch the message on Sunday, it is posted on it is posted, but it was just the audio. Hey, good morning, Karen. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Hello, everybody. Good day to you. Hope there's goodness in your days ahead. Hello, hello. Good morning, friends. Everybody has some great plans for the holiday. Nice to enjoy yourself. Good morning, good morning. Happy 4th. Good to see everyone. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. Hope you're doing okay, staying cool. Good morning, friends. All right, let's get going. This morning it is the 3rd day of July here at 11:11, and I'm glad that you're a part of this journey. It is this special time right here that has the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, and in particular, right now, is the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was actually finalized yesterday, and it was signed and worked on and kind of and doctored up and copied and all the things that had to happen before its presentation tomorrow. So we are actually at this is 250 years ago today, the formation and of one of the greatest documents that the planet has ever seen. You see, the reason it is a great document in many ways is because it is the first time in reality that this notion of human freedom, and particularly the notion of self-governance governance within human freedom, the idea of self-regulation among a people, should be pursued as an endeavor. Now, certainly the idea of freedom, the idea of liberty had existed before. We understand all that, but this was the first time it actually came into being. And that the Declaration of Independence has within it this incredible piece of beauty. In part, it is because that it really holds to some fundamental pieces of what it is, of what both the work of God is with humanity, and what the work of humanity is with God. That this notion that we should be co-creators with God in the redemption of the world and in the redeeming of the world, that we should be in God's image, made to bring about this goodness and grace and beauty that is to come in this world. And that this is so I just want to go through it quickly, because and then land on the very end, because and just to talk about a few things in the end, because the thing about this Declaration of Independence is that, and there are those within more traditional Christian circles that will tell you that this is actually the most horrible document that's ever been produced. That it is actually because it takes us away from an ordered world of king and of country and king and puts us into a world of, well, anarchy. But here's the thing: is that and this is where we end, where the Declaration of Independence ends up, is not an appeal to human powers, but an appeal to heaven, which is, if you've ever seen the one of the first battle insignias ever brought in, ever flown, it was a pine tree with the words "appeal to heaven" underneath it. That this is really, those early patriots, that's what they understood themselves to be doing. They were not in the business of tearing down kings so that chaos may reign. They were in the business of establishing a new order, a better order, so that heaven may more better reign. You see the difference? It is really the difference between the French Revolution and the American Revolution. Look at what happened in the French Revolution. They traded in, once again, liberté, égalité, fraternité, ended up trading in tore down all these systems, and then all those systems became manifest back, well, in an emperor, in Napoleon. And even though they end up with a kind of democratic system in the end, there is still this incredible way in which the fractured difficulty of it becomes a very different place than what we will find in the American experience. So what's in the American, in case you slept through ninth grade civics, just a reminder. So it begins with those most beautiful words. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve political bands which they have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station, which the laws of nature and nature's God entitles them. Already, you see within it the foundational difference. This is an appeal to that which governs us, not in the earthly realm, but in the heavenly realm, and that what we're doing in this world should look more in accordance with that, and that it goes on to talk about these truths that are inalienable rights, meaning that they come not from each other, not that the state gives them to you, not because the king grants them to you and says that you can have them, but because in fact they are granted from God. They are granted from heaven, among them being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then we get on to this long list of grievances, all these things that they're all twisted about, and this long list of abuses, of things that this government had been doing to these people that they complained about, that they made manifest, and that refused to do anything. It is this long list of things that are wrong, that are disordered, that are unfair, that are in fact tyrannical. And why does that matter? Because we have to remember what they're appealing to is not, we want it this way and you want it that way. What they're appealing to is there is a sense of what right looks like. And what right looks like is not putting your soldiers in my house and displacing all of my family on a cold winter night, or putting your soldiers in my house and letting them have their way with my family members, or inciting revolution around me, or plundering or taking my stuff, or all these very, very, very basic ideas of what that we would look at not as political ideas, but as moral failings. And this is, so they list this long list of the petitions for redress in which they have made. And then they come to the conclusion. This is where I want to spend just a second on today. That we, therefore, the representatives of the United States in General Congress, assembled appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world. This appeal was to the Supreme Judge of the world. And it was the invitation to King George to be in accord with the laws and the rules of the Supreme Judge of the world. It was not that, this is Burger King and we want it our way. In fact, that was if we want to kind of, again, compare revolution, French Revolution, American Revolution, the French Revolution looked much more that way. It wasn't that they didn't want principalities; that they wanted us to have power. They wanted to tear down the powers that were. If you read any of the literature from that time, it was very different in terms of, now there were certainly problems. I mean, the whole let them cake. I'm not suggesting there weren't problems within France that needed redress. I'm suggesting when they appealed to, what they were appealing to was actually foundationally different. And this, I think, is what makes the United States experiment of 250 years of a people attempting to govern itself so radically different and so radically beautiful in many ways. Because the appeal was not to their own desires. The appeal was not to their own will. Their appeal was not to have it their way. The appeal was to the supreme judge of the world. And that their reliance was, and this is that last famous line, and for the support of this declaration, and with firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. They relied upon the Lord's providence. That this profound and simple notion that we are going to encounter tyrannies in this world. We are going to encounter difficulties in this world. We're going to encounter things breaking down in this world. We're going to encounter our list of grievances. You got a list of grievances. I got a list of grievances. You know, it's like Seinfeld up in here. You know, like it's you know, we're going back to our list of grievances. But the thing about it is, what we must always remember, and I think what has, if anything has ever kind of let the United States be, a light in any manner, form, or way, it is because it has made this appeal not to the whims of the way that we want it, or the way that 575 people want it, or the way that this state wants it, or that state wants it, or this constituency that wants it, and that constituency wants it. Not to say there aren't principalities fighting these things out. We know there are. We can map them out very nicely. But it is that at its foundational place, where it comes from, is an appeal to the supreme judge of the world. Where it comes from is a reliance not on our own capabilities, though we'll throw our own capabilities in the mix, but it is a firm reliance on divine providence. And friends, that's my invitation for you today, is that you might take this grand declaration and be a reminder of your own place and declaration. Your list of grievances, whatever they may be, the things that you look at this world and you say, that's just not right. And I've talked to people about that, and it's still just not right. Or I've prayed about it, and it's still just not right. Or I've demanded that it be other, and it's still just not right. Those things that are just not right, that may violate natural law, may violate God's law, may violate material law, but or it may just violate our own desires, that we want something to be purple when it should be green. But whatever they are, we must always remember to appeal to the supreme judge of the world, that, as the grand scripture says, to rely not on our own understanding, that God's ways are not our ways, and that we trust not in our own understanding, but to trust in God's understanding. And that we might be a part of that process, and that we might want not our own way, but the way of heaven, that we might appeal not to our own peccadillos, but we might appeal to heaven, and that we might rely on the Lord's providence and operation in our lives to bring that goodness about. And that when we stand in that place, with all of the imperfections of the world and all of the imperfections that come out of the Declaration of Independence and all of the imperfections that come out of 250 years of this nation. And nobody's saying it's perfect, but this world is not made for perfection. But what it is our desire to work with the one who made us, to appeal not to our own understanding, not to our own desire, not to even the way that we think it ought to be, but to appeal to the supreme judge of the world and his providence to bring about the greatest and most perfect and most true, good, and beautiful thing that our lives can make, that our city can make, and that our nation can bring about. And that, I think, is a highway that we can hold up this 4th of July that comes, this 250th anniversary of this incredible document. All right. Peace and grace to you all, my friends. A reminder, we have no Bible study tonight, so just go watch the fireworks, and we have worship at 9 o'clock on Sunday. We are having the Lord's Supper together. We are beginning a new sermon series called Summer in the Psalms for the next 4 weeks. We're going to be talking about not just the Psalms, but special ones picked out by special friends of mine. So it's going to be a little look not only into how we find God's life, God's face in the Psalms, but how we find them in the face of the people that we journey with. And so you'll get a little look into my life and the people that inspire me, but you'll also get and hopefully see how the Psalms play themselves out and how we can use them in our lives of devotion and in negotiating this life today. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Come and worship with us 9 o'clock on Sunday. Hopefully we'll be able to get us online or at 283 Rock Street. It'll be beautiful. Peace and grace to you all, my friends, and we'll pick it up next week with another 11:11.